Good evening. Thank you for your presence. And my name is Samir. I'm an AI solutions architect. And for those that are not aware of what a solutions architect does, we are just technical consultants that help the customers to design and create reference architectures that will guide you through the development cycle of a particular solution. So we also deliver workshops, bootcamps, POCs, and we work together to improve your business. And I'm here with Ben.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ben Thurgood. I'm a Solutions Architecture Manager, so I look after a team of solutions architects. And I also focus on machine learning.
All right, so we brought here today a very interesting and hot topic, so machine learning applied to retail. And the idea is to go through basically 3 pillars that will support this presentation. So we'll talk about business challenges, business challenges related to retailers, to all the challenges that the retailers normally face. And also we'll talk about techniques that can be used to address these business challenges. And finally, we'll talk about the technology and the solutions AWS offers to implement these techniques, okay? All right, so we will start with the customer's journey. This is something important because these are the key points of the engagement of the customer during a purchase. So you can see moments of choice where the customer will engage with your platform and they will decide if they will keep the purchase, if they will keep using your platform, or they will leave and go to another platform. So, and everything starts with the customer's interests. So the customer will start with an idea, something they want to buy, and they will start searching in your platform for that particular item. And as you can see, 63% of the customers expect some sort of personalization. And they will be very disappointed with your platform if you don't offer these personalizations. And by personalization, we mean product recommendation, re-rank the search results, and so on. You need to make the difference in the customers' lives, okay? So, and after that, after you recommend several different products, and after you return the results of the search, the customer will evaluate the offers and will decide if they will purchase or not in your platform. And there's the second important key point. If you offer free shipping and fast shipping, this will make a difference in your platform, in your business. So almost 80% of your customers will leave your platform if you don't offer these features to them, okay? And after that, they will purchase the item, and there's the next step is the tracking. So in average, they will look 8 times to the tracking process to see at which step their purchases are. So you need to give as much information as possible to your customers in order to make them happy with the process and the experience. And then if they have any issue with the problem, they will try to return. You also need to offer a very interesting and a very easy feature, a very easy way to return this product if needed. So this is an extreme case and desired case, but you need to offer a very good experience on that. And finally, they will share this experience with their families and their friends, and they will promote your platform if their experience in your platform were good, okay? And we selected here 3 top challenges, and you can see the first 2 are totally related with this customer's journey, and the third one is related to several other business challenges. But let's take this first one. So promote and recommend is the first impression of your customer when they start using your platform. So you need to offer good ways of finding new products or finding products and related items to the item that the customer wants. and also promote those products that are located at the bottom or at the end of the curve of your inventory. And by using machine learning techniques, you can implement recommendation engines to offer these features to your customers, okay? And the second item is plan and forecast, and also you can achieve interesting scenarios using forecasting, like cost reduction, and achieve the customer's demand. So for instance, let's say that you can predict how many products will be sold in a particular store or in a particular region that you cover using your platform. So this is interesting because you can reduce the time, the shipping time, and reduce the cost of all the processes by predicting and sending the products to some place near the user, near your customers, okay? And by digital transformation, we can talk about different things like call centers, logistics, and everything. So we know that machine learning is being applied successfully in several other cases, and this is an important key point. But in this presentation, let's focus on these first two items, okay? And to explain the benefits of machine learning, we can split these in three different topics. So we start with the enhanced insights, which is you can train machine learning models, you can use machine learning algorithms to create classification algorithms and forecasting algorithms to put some light on the data that flows from your transactional applications, your database, your data lakes, to put some light there and to see how well your business are doing. And you can also have some insights to take for making better decisions, show in dashboards and so on. The second item is related to user experience. It's not related to revenue or cost optimization, but it's about features that you can offer in your platform to retain your current users and attract more users. So each feature that you implement in your platform and you offer to your user can be something that will attract. So for instance, if you offer a new feature in the app, mobile app, that can help the customers to find the products, it will be super helpful, and you can retain users by doing that. And you can also use machine learning to do that. And finally, process optimization. So, and then we can talk about automation, cost reduction, and again, so talking about, remember the customer's journey. So when we talk about reducing the cost of shipping and reduce the time to send, to deliver a product, we're talking about process optimization as well, okay? And here we selected top 6 benefits of AI ML for retailers from research from a statista. And this research, as you can see, almost all these benefits are related to automation, to cost optimization, to forecast. But we can also see an item related to decision making and also user experience. When we talk about problem solving, this is a generic topic, and then you can think about the user experience and all the things that you can do using machine learning, okay? All right, so keep in mind the customer's journey, we can derive several business challenges related to retail. And here you can see some techniques that you can combine, you can use to address these business challenges. And you can do that by just converting a business challenge into a question. So, for instance, how can I offer products related to the item that my customer is looking for that has a huge potential to be transformed into a purchase? So the answer is you can combine product recommendations, similar items, and also search personalization, which is you can get the search results and then personalize, re-rank these search results based on the customer's interests. So these three techniques can be combined themselves to implement a particular business challenge, all right? So another business challenge, another question is how can I deliver the products faster and cheaper? Demand forecast is an answer. And I highlighted product classification because when we talk about machine learning, all about is data. So you have to have good quality data in order to train reliable machine learning models. And if you don't have this, you have really poor predictions. And product classification is something that you can use to improve the quality of your data. Okay? All right, so let's hear from Ben about the third pillar of this presentation, the technologies and the services AWS offers to implement these techniques that will address the business challenges.
Thanks, Samir. So Samir has really covered what the opportunities are and what the challenges are and how machine learning can help. Let's now look at how the AWS machine learning offerings can help you to do some of those things. First thing to talk about is how AWS offers machine learning. And we do that across 3 layers. At the bottom layer, we have frameworks and infrastructure. And this is where deep expertise is required to use the infrastructure and the machine learning frameworks, put them together with a lot of programming and a lot of effort to come up with your own machine learning models, custom built on custom designed solutions. Now, if you want to save a bit of time and effort, you can move up to the next stack, which is in the middle around our machine learning services. And that's where Amazon SageMaker provides you with services across the machine learning lifecycle to do things like create your data set, explore your data, train a machine learning model, have it automatically optimized for you, and then have it hosted and scaled and secured automatically for you. And one of our customers, Intuit, used SageMaker to reduce their machine learning lifecycle development time from 6 months down to 2 weeks. Now, that's if you're building custom machine learning models and you've got data scientists in your team. What if you just want to use machine learning and start building that into your products? Well, that's where the top layer comes in, AI services. We can just use these off the shelf. They're black boxes that we can just ask them to do something. Like, if we send it a face, we ask them, which face is that? We can give it some recorded voice, and it will turn it into text for us. We can get it to do sentiment analysis on what our users are typing on social media using Comprehend, for example. But what those a lot of the time are doing is they're using pre-built models that are trained on a large data set that you can just take advantage of. But in the problems we're talking about machine learning around retail, we actually want to use our own custom data. So the last 2 services on the right there, forecasting and recommendations, so we've got Amazon Forecast and Amazon Personalize, are actually able to automatically create custom-built machine learning models using your data really easily without any machine learning expertise. So that's what we'll go through. So the story behind this is that many retailers were asking us, as Amazon, surely you know something about retail. Surely you've solved some of these challenges already. Isn't there something in AWS you can offer us to make this problem a little easier? And so this is where we came up with, as I said, Amazon Personalize around recommendations, Amazon Forecast for forecasting, and Amazon Connect, which is our contact center experience. So let's start with forecasting. If you look at forecasting, it is a really difficult problem, and there's a whole range of reasons why, but the first thing is we don't want to get it wrong. We don't want to under-forecast, okay? We're going to disappoint our customers. And we don't want to over-forecast and provide too much because we're going to introduce costs. We're going to have to raise our costs in response to that, and this could have several effects. So depending on what we're trying to forecast, we'll see a number of different effects either way. We talk about inventory planning, we're going to have excess inventory if we over-forecast, or we're going to lose a sale because our customers have been disappointed. What about workforce planning? Who should be working where, when? Well, again, we'll have underutilized labor and overtime costs. each way. Capacity planning, well, if we're trying to build stores, for example, we'll potentially overcapitalize, or, again, we'll have unmet demand. And finally, what about cash reserves? We want to make sure that we've got the right amount of cash reserves, otherwise we could be in trouble. So after a decade of using forecasting technology at Amazon.com, we learn a fair bit about this space. And it started really a long time ago. We started using traditional statistical methods, and those worked really well for a certain set of products. Really everyday household products that we were going to be seeing over and over again. And it worked okay for seasonality too, provided that seasonality was really expected and not just coming up out of the blue. Now, around 2007, we started using machine learning for forecasting, and we saw a great improvement in our ability to forecast around a whole range of much more variety of products. And in 2015, we started introducing deep learning, and here we saw a massive improvement, 15 times improvement in accuracy. And you look across the various challenging product spaces we're talking about, we're looking at high price variability across different product sets. We're looking at regional versus national demand, so within various markets, being able to forecast accurately down to a local level. Slow-moving products, not necessarily turtles, but other products that are going to be hanging around for a while, these can be really challenging to understand the patterns and how long you're going to have to hold these in stock. Obviously, new products, and I'll get into this a little bit more, but if you've got a new product, how do you forecast how much you should keep if you don't have any data on this product today? And then finally, highly seasonal products. So not just Christmas or some other kind of regular demand product, but something that's coming up because of coming into vogue or into fashion, something that's really popular now or at a particular time of year suddenly. Being able to respond to that demand is really important. If you look at the challenge across Amazon.com, it starts with 400 million products across 10,000 zip codes. Now, in terms of being able to meet our customer promises, we just wouldn't be able to deliver the business we do today without significant use of machine learning. It's really deeply entwined in what we do and enables us to deliver on these promises. And that's the same with lower prices. How are we going to deliver lower prices if we over-store our inventory or if we store inventory in the wrong locations? Which brings us to the last part as well. How do we do fast delivery? Well, it's super important that we know where and when to store the right inventory for the right customer base. So we had to get good at this. And we did, and as a result, we've now made it available for customers as a service from Amazon called Amazon Forecast. So this enables you to predict future business conditions using the same technology that we developed at Amazon.com. So it's a fully managed service. It's highly accurate across a range of challenges that I'll cover in more detail in a second. One of the key benefits is it's really easy to use. And we're going to demo this today and show you just how easy it is to use without machine learning expertise. And it's on your data, in your AWS account, and it'll create your models that then you can use. So how does it do it? Well, it takes into account, and really importantly, a number of different data sets in order to meet this challenge. And as part of using Forecast, you'll see, Samir will show you that you want to give it access to various data sets so that it can do its job. The first one is the time series that you're actually trying to predict. So this is the target time series. In this case, it might be the price of something, it might be the demand and the amount of sales, it might be conversions, it might be the infrastructure you're going to build. Okay, and then you're going to take other data and combine that together. So non-time varying data that may have an impact on the influence. And this could be something to do with your products or something to do with your users that's going to help make sense of the forecasting that's going on and potentially have an impact. So is it regional information? Is it demographics information? There could be a whole range of things that you use in order to help with this. And then the last two categories are other time series that might have an impact. So you could be using weather data, for example, to predict whether or not certain types of products will be more popular. And as well, you might want to include things like holidays, weekends, or other kinds of data that's helping you and helping the model to make intelligent decisions. So what does Forecast do? Well, it takes all of this data and pulls it together to automatically create a forecasting model, custom built, and provide you with a private forecasting API you can use to create forecasts on your data about your products, about your situation. So let's go into a bit more detail. The way it works is once you give it those data sets, it will automatically load your data. It will inspect your data and look for any features that it can use and keep track of in order to help it make these calculations. And then it's going to train a model using multiple algorithms to find out which is the best algorithm for your case, and then automatically optimize your model against metrics that you either say, if you're not sure, it will come up with intelligent guesses about those metrics, or you can even provide other metrics if you like. Once it's selected the most accurate algorithm that it's been able to build based on your data, it'll automatically create an API for you and host your model that's fully secured and fully scalable so that you can start taking advantage of that and start doing forecasts. So, some of the really important and challenging things that forecasts can help you with is that if you have data that's missing, if you have product discontinuations, cold starts, and this is where I was talking about a new product. What if you've introduced a new product, you've got zero data on it, how much should you provide? Well, this is where cold start will be able to actually make an inference based on potentially a related product or other trends that it can see. It can handle really highly spiky data, irregular seasonality, as we talked about, and then also sensitivity around future price changes. So a customer example that's using this today is Castle One, and they are an online retailer of furniture and those types of things. So it's super important for them to get this right because storing this kind of inventory is very expensive in their warehouse. And so they've been able to utilize forecast in order to improve the accuracy of the forecasting they're already doing by 20%. Now, Samir, you had an example of one of your customers, didn't you?
Yeah, so this is an interesting case. There's a customer called OMOTOR from Brazil. And this customer, they combine different technologies, AI technologies, into services. And they offer these services to their customers. And they worked with some car dealers there in Brazil to create some forecasting models to predict the sales in the next month. So 185 different models of vehicles, and they offer these feature as a service to these car dealers, and they can just predict how well the sales will go to the next month, and also they can work together with the car manufacturers in order to improve the whole process of selling. And I will show you a demo about the following scenario. So it's just to give you some context, this demo is something that we implemented with Forecast, Amazon Forecast. And the situation is the following. So imagine that I have a company that sells car parts, and I have three different physical stores, and in 3 different locations, and I need to predict how many parts will be sold in each of one of the stores, and I need to do that for all my inventory. Okay, so I start with the relational database. These are my transactional database. You can imagine that you are using RDS with MySQL, Postgres, it doesn't matter. And here, I just extracted the data, put into an S3 bucket, and I'm using here Athena to load these data as a CSV. And then these are my transactions, as you can see here.
How's the size on the screen? bigger, smaller? Pretty good?
I can...
A bit bigger?
Yeah.
A little bit bigger, please, mate.
All right. Is it better? Let's remove these.
More? A little more?
All right.
How's that?
Yeah. Better, right? So the one important thing about these services, Personalize and Forecast, is that you don't need to have a data scientist skills to use them. You can just have access to a relational database and execute a SQL command like this one. So I prepared the data set that I used in Forecast by just creating a SQL query that combines the item ID. So the item ID became the store ID plus the item ID, because I want to predict the demand in of that particular product in that particular store, okay? And then I kept the timestamp, the price, and the quantity sold on that day, on that timestamp, okay? And just like that. So you just need to run a query like that, extract the data, and then I can send this data set to Forecast. And if you want to take a look on the data, you can explore. Here I created just some simple graphs using QuickSight to explore and see. So here you can see the sales in each one of my physical stores. And then here the sales in different categories to see which category sells more. And here I selected just one product. So as you can see here, one product in one store to analyze the tendency and the sales during 2018 of this. You don't need to do that, but this is just to give you an insight, an idea how your data is, okay? And here you can see the Forecast dashboard. And there's a concept called dataset groups. And these dataset groups can be used to organize your data. So I'm exploring car parts now with forecasting curves for car parts. So I create this dataset group for car parts. And then here I can see the dataset that I imported. And one of the important things here in the dataset is the schema. So Ben will explore a little more about the schema in Personalize, but both Personalize and Forecast use the same approach. So you create a schema, or you can use a predefined template in these tools in Personalize. And then this is the way the service will see the CSV that I just generated with that simple query I executed in Athena. And that's it. And then you can create a predictor. A predictor is the model that will be trained by using one of the multiple algorithms the tool uses. If you are not familiar with the algorithms, you can just use a feature called AutoML. AutoML is a feature that will inspect your data and select the best algorithm to train your curve, all right? And finally, you can start doing predictions. And this is how you can use the Forecast console to check the predictions. So here, I created this curve, this forecast, aggregated by day, and then I selected an interval and that particular product that I showed you in QuickSight. And here are the results. So my realized data, my realized sales, and these are the forecasts by day. So if I need to consolidate by week, by month, it's just a matter of selecting the aggregation in the previous step when you create the predictor, okay? So here you can see the weekends and some tendencies and so on. And also you can export these forecasts and then you can import into your transactional database and to your BI, your data warehouse. It doesn't matter. You can then explore these forecasts using your tool, your report tool. Okay? You need to use the S3 bucket in order to communicate with forecast. So you export, you can use any tool you want to connect to the data source. So the question is, can I connect forecast to an outside different a data source, any data source? So you connect using an ETL tool, extract the data, put into S3, and then you can train your model, all right?
All right, thanks, Samir. Now, the demo we just went through, I want you to also, when we go to the next demo, when we're talking about Personalize in a moment, just compare the similarities and the differences, because you'll be able to see that we're actually going to make it very similar and very easy for you to use these products and go through these steps. So let's now talk about personalization. We've done some talking about forecast. We look at personalization. The first thing we want to do is really ensure that we've got activity and product recommendations. So what should a user do? What do we recommend based on their personal needs, their personal preferences, and their personal tastes? What do we recommend that they do and in their interactions with us? And also, what do we recommend that they purchase? How can we help them? The other is search personalization. This is super important. Can we give them, based on the search that they're doing, not just something that's like the words that they've said, but something that's based on their personal needs, personal interests, that'll help refine the search and get it closer to what they're most likely to be interested in. And then, of course, personal notifications. We all know how annoying marketing notifications can be when they're just generic. On the other hand, when they're personalized, they can create a great deal of engagement. Not just personalized, but at the right time as well. And then, of course, in email. So what can we stand to gain by looking at this? Well, the first thing is engagement. Now, when we looked at it, we found that you can increase engagement by 15% by bringing in personalization, okay? That also results in 80% more click-through to your tail items. So in terms of product discovery, much more discovery across your catalog. And then in terms of conversion, well, we're looking at 30% greater conversion on products, which is huge. And then finally, actual increased revenue of 5%. So this really matters and really makes a difference. Now, effective personalization can be really hard because of a number of challenges. In this case, of course, we want a custom model. It's got to reflect your data. And it can't just reflect your data as it was and how your users were a week ago or 6 months ago. It has to reflect what your users' tastes are right now. How can you do that? How can you keep up to date if you're training a machine learning model with the activities that are going on in real time? And then also cold starts in a similar vein. If you've got a new product, how do you know if you should recommend it? If you've got a new customer, how do you know what you should be recommending to them? And then a popularity trap where if you are just recommending based on the fact that some of the products are really popular and therefore they're very highly likely to be something that you should recommend, but it's not necessarily the case. We'll take questions at the end. Thanks. And then scale, obviously scaling to, across multiple products, sets, and millions of users. So that's why we created Amazon Personalize, again, bringing the technology of Amazon.com, making it available to AWS customers in order to do real-time personalization and recommendations. This is going to look familiar because we're doing a very similar thing. We're taking your data. In this case, it's not the same type of data. In this case, it's data about your users. It's data about maybe your products as well, and data about the interaction between the two. When do the users actually buy or look at or click any of those, and how do they interact? You supply those items in your data set, as well as any other demographics that you can provide about your users or information about your products. And Personalize will create a customized, secured API automatically for you. This is going to look fairly familiar because it's going through the same process. And we mentioned AutoML just a minute ago. You can choose whether, if you don't have any data science available, you don't have any idea of how you might want to build this, you can just choose AutoML and let Personalize do all of the work for you, selecting the algorithms, selecting the parameters, tuning the parameters, and getting it as best as it can. Or if you've got a little bit of insight or you'd like to experiment, you can take over at various stages and give it more guidance about how you'd like it to work. It's going to automatically train that model, and then it's going to host the model. Now, extra steps that it will do to deal with the real-time problem is it'll create a feature store and a cache. So that's going to help you to actually deal with data as it's coming in, to help you deal with like being really close to what's actually happening with the users now, and also to make sure that you can respond very quickly. Some of these models, because they're dealing with very sparse data, it might be a large catalog with lots of users, but compared to the amount of users and products, there might only be a few interactions. And so you can actually get a slow response, which is why it automatically creates a cache for you to speed up those interactions. So Personalize will deliver high quality recommendations. It'll do it in real time. Again, it's really easy to use. I'll show you in a moment just how easy it is. And it works with just about any product or content scenario and across all of those different use cases that we talked about. So not just about recommendations, it could be personalizing email, personalizing notifications. So one of our customers, Yamaha, using it, they're saving up to 60% of the time they needed to previously tune and set up their models. So this is taking a lot of the heavy lifting away from what they previously had to do. And another example is Domino's, and they're using Personalize to be able to create really relevant marketing communications to customers based on the context and the content and based on the time as well, making it really useful to your users right at that moment. And Domino's are finding that working really well. So let's have a look at how that works. So, okay. We'll start with going into Personalize. You're going to see a very similar look and feel to what you saw earlier. You can see that we start by pointing it at our data. Now, what Samir was talking about before is, where's the data coming from? Well, it's probably coming from your transactional systems. And that's probably got stored in a database. Now, when Samir was using Athena before, that was just an example of interacting with a database. You could easily be just doing that against a database directly, or you could be using some ETL to bring that into Athena via S3 or some other mechanism to make it easy for you. Alternatively, if you have data engineers or data scientists, you could be doing that in Jupyter Notebooks or something similar to that using Amazon SageMaker. Once you've got the data into AWS on S3, you're going to want to make sure that you have it in the right format so that we can see the data we're looking for. So we'll start with creating a data set group. In this case, I created a demo group. And what we'll do is we'll create, this is the dashboard across Personalize that guides you through the steps that you need to take. Is that big enough for everyone? Okay, just let me know at any point, somebody just maybe do this if it gets too small. And what we can do is we can just import some data. And the way we do that is okay, I think I've already started this one, yep. So we'll go to another type. Data sets. Okay, so if we create a data set, we can choose the different types of data sets we can create. Now, I've already created an interactions one in this case, so it's asking me, do I want users or items? If I start with the users one, I need to give it a name, so I'll say my users, for example. I can either create a new schema or I can use an existing one. In the schema, all you're doing is really making a connection between what's in your database, so basically the columns in your database, and what type of data is in there. And there's some restrictions about and some suggestions about how you do that. And particularly in the user's data, it's looking for this user ID field. How are we for size? Make that a bit bigger. So it's looking for this user ID field, and it wants it in a string. Now, I've also included, if you can see there, I've also included some demographic data about my users. I've got the age in there, and I've got gender in there. That might be helpful because that'll help Personalize work out some recommendations across my users. So let me skip, so then what I would do after I've created the schema, the next step is to create a database import job. Now this is going to import my data from S3 into Personalize to enable me to use it. So if I give it a name, import job, and you'll notice what I want to do is make sure I've got an IAM, so this is an Identity Access Management role that has access to my bucket, that gives Personalize the security credentials it needs to access what it needs from a data perspective. And on the other end, I want to make sure my S3 bucket enables that connection as well via a bucket policy. And then I'm simply going to give it the destination path here. You can see an example. I'll just choose this one. And then I could just start the import. Now what that will do is automatically go to S3, grab that data, start pulling it into Personalize, but also doing some analysis on it to look for those features. So I'll go to one I've created earlier, and this is for the this global data, the global store example. Now there's a workshop where you get to build this yourself, happening tomorrow at 12:15. If you're interested, we'll give you the details at the end. But what we've done in this case is we've created the data for this global store. So this is the global store one, and in our data sets, you can see that we've created, firstly, these 3 data sets. I'll explain the event interactions one in a moment. The first one is the users that I mentioned, the items, if we just have a quick look at that one. So here now we've got the item ID. Again, we've got some categorical data, the category of the item, this is our product, and the style of the item. And then we've got an import job that created that. Then if I look at interactions, we'll now see, we're seeing the combination now of our item ID and our user ID. We've got a timestamp showing when that actually took place and an event type. Now, with that information, if I go to the dashboard, the Personalize will upload the data set and make it available to us. And it will also allow us to use a custom event interactions SDK that will allow us to connect our applications to Personalize and start importing live event data. So this is where it brings in the live aspect, and you can actually start getting real data from your customers as you're going. And this is where that data is stored, in the event interactions. And through that, when it's interacting through that API, it'll be creating additional data that'll automatically start helping to refine your model. All right, once we've got all of our data sets in place, we're going to go to Solutions. So if I go back to the dashboard, we're going to go to Solutions and create a solution. And I've created one already using AutoML. And in this case, it's built 3 different versions of that model for me in order to compare different settings and automatically converge to the best settings for me. Now, I've got a lot of control over the way that happens, whether I tell it some kind of instructions about how to get going, or I get it to do everything by itself and everything in between. You can do a lot of experiments to find out what is going to work best for you. And I'll just give you an example. Once you've done that work, you'll see that you've got solution metrics. Make that a little bit bigger. So these are telling me that for my first 5 recommendations, I've got 40% accuracy. So that's really good. For my top 10, I've got 50% accuracy. So I'm doing really, really well. Now, what I need to do in order to use my model is to create a campaign. I create a campaign, which I then can use to make live personalization recommendations. So let me just give you a demo of how that works. So this is the global store that you built in the workshop that I mentioned. And when you've signed in as a user, if you go and look at some products, I've signed in as myself, and I'm not a user in the catalog. So it'll be interesting to see what it recommends for me. So what it's recommending is based on people that have actually looked at this product. It's not really doing much to do with me. What I can do in this application is show you. So if we just take that example, I've clicked on this striped shirt, and it's given me these recommendations. If I now go into the profile and I can emulate another user, demo gods, be good. This is always the fun part, isn't it? Let me just quickly sign back in and see if I can get that to work. Okay. So now see if I can do that again. Okay, and I've got a little bit of a glitch in the application, unfortunately. Just try to quickly see if I can reset that. Here we go, profile. All right, so this lets me pick another user. So if I look at Terry, who likes electronics and beauty, and I save Terry as the user that we're going to use. Come on, Terry. And I go into apparel. Okay, so unfortunately I haven't been able to get that to stick. Try it one more time. I'll try Janet. Okay, come on, Janet. So this is from a demo that we're building tomorrow, and it may have a little bug in it. Let me just see if I can quickly get it to work here. Okay, so now we've got it to be able to respond to Janet's preferences, which is that she's into jewelry and accessory items. So even though I've gone and looked at footwear, it's based on her personal preferences. It's given me a different recommendation. So that's the main thing I wanted to show you there. All right. So now we've talked about what Personalize and Forecast can do to actually make you able to bring in machine learning to your retail endeavors. Let's talk a little bit about the art of the possible and what you can do on top of that when you combine it with some really amazing machine learning with Amazon SageMaker.
Okay, so this is a very interesting challenge that I'm working with some customers these days. And the business challenge here is related to retail, but related to fashion as well. So it's a complex challenge because if you take a look at me, I'm a guy with a simple taste for fashion. So I normally wear black t-shirt and jeans, and sometimes heavy metal t-shirts. And so it's hard for me to pick the right heavy metal t-shirt because it needs to combine with the mood of the day. But this is just nothing related to the other customers. So the heavy metal customers are just a fraction of the total customers. And the things get complicated when we enter into the women's universe. There are so many options, so many things to combine. And for me, as a machine learning developer, it's been a super interesting experience because the data set is awesome and I can combine several different things. But the business challenge here is how can I offer a feature to my customers that they can just take a picture of something they want from a magazine, from in a shopping, in a store, and then send to my application, and then I can find not only the most similar products that I have in my inventory, but also recommend similar items and products and accessories and so on. So in this challenge, we started using SageMaker with Personalize. So we combined SageMaker and we trained a machine learning model, a computer vision model, using SageMaker to do this feature. This feature is called instance segmentation. It is capable of identifying all the pixels that belong to that particular object. In this case, this jumpsuit can be extracted from the image, the original image, and then we can reduce the noise from the background and the other parts of the image, and then we can do a visual search. Because why we're doing that? Why we started with that? Because as the things started getting complex, I mean in terms of the product that you're looking for, it's very hard to express in a textual search. So you need to use more. And by using this technique, you can extract the semantic information from the piece, the particular item that you want, and then send to a more powerful solution. In this case, we started with the computer vision model in SageMaker, and then we found the most similar products in our database, and then we can call Personalize for other recommendations for similar items, and also for product for search re-ranking. So Personalize will re-rank the search results with the items that are more related, more relevant for my interests and for the interests of the users. So this is something that you can use and you can combine. It's a powerful solution, and this is related to that. Remember the 3 key points that machine learning can help. So the user experience, you can retain your users, you can attract more users using features like that. Yeah.
All right, so far we've shown you about how to use services like Amazon Forecast and Amazon Personalize to be able to create custom machine learning models from your data and be able to tackle some of these retail challenges. Now, if you'd like to go further than that and get into machine learning in more depth, Amazon Web Services can help you. We have training and certification available. So there's role-based machine learning training paths and over 70 different courses online that you can take advantage of. And once you've learned lots about machine learning, you can validate that with certification. So we'd like to say thank you very much for staying in this late session. We really hope you enjoyed it and got a lot out of it. And so thank you very much from myself and Samir. And also, please do give us feedback. We're always interested in customer feedback, and we hope you have a wonderful reInvent. Thank you very much.